Hey, what's up, everybody? Brandon Morse here from RedState. I am here with Josh Philipp of the Epoch Times. Lately, I've been saying Epoch. I didn't even know that was the way you don't say it. That's a British way of saying it.
If you're British, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
But we're going to sit here and talk today about something that is on a lot of people's minds because it's being forced on your mind. They can't stop talking about it in the media. They really think that it's like the best thing since sliced bread for the Democratic Party. It is the January 6th committee. Obviously, you're hearing all about that nonstop. It's being shoved down your throat. But obviously, this is a witch hunt. There's not a lot of substance to it. It's all flair. And there's not a lot of facts being thrown around. There is a lot of theory, conjecture, weird stories about Trump having superpowers, being able to leap off of tall buildings, grab people by the neck with steering wheels in the other hand. There is a true story behind it. And Josh, you set out to find it, and now you've got a documentary coming up, The Real Story of January 6th, now streaming on Epoch TV. Tell us a little bit about it, man. How did you get started in trying to find the truth?
Well, with this documentary, basically, we were seeing a lot of things. One, if you've been watching the actual video footage and not what the mainstream media is showing you, which, we're getting thousands and thousands of hours of video footage from January 6th, you'll start to see that the committee, the House one, mostly run by Democrats. You have a couple Democrat-ish Republicans.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a very kind way of putting it.
Yeah, right. Basically run by Democrats, essentially, right? Who are doctoring footage. If you know the footage, you know they're doctoring it. They're changing the context, they're removing parts of it, and they're making it say what they want it to say, even though the actual footage does not show that or does not suggest what they're trying to say it does. And so we decided to, basically, first of all, make a special feature video where we just wanted to take the footage we have and show people what really happened with some of these key incidents. And then as we started doing that, we're like, you know what? We have so much more. We have so much more information that nobody has seen before. Why don't we put it all together? And that's what we ended up doing. We made an hour, 40-minute documentary really showing everything that people want to know about. We talk about, for example, was there violence on the Trump side? Was there violence on the police side? Turns out there was very little violence on the Trump side. In fact, the main instigators are what I think a lot of people want to know about as well, these suspicious actors like Ray Epps and others, who for some reason the FBI has no interest in. At the same time, we show that there was significant violence on the side of the Capitol Police and of DC Metro, to the point where they committed multiple crimes, things that many of them should be at least facing trial for. And we bring in one of the top experts on use of force, Stan Kefart. If you go on the court databases, he's the #1 guy that courts will call in to testify on police use of force. We have him go through the video footage. We have multiple angles of video footage, so we're not eliminating anything. And we have him assess, was this legal? And DC Metro and Capitol Police were violating the law like there was just no tomorrow. Like it was like they just had Judge Dredd free reign over this whole thing. You know what I mean? That's what it was.
I am the law. Yeah.
Yeah. Judge, jury, executioner, and I mean, in the truest sense. I mean, so we also show footage of the 4 deaths that day. There were not 5 deaths, as even some of the judges are saying, which is absolutely ridiculous. Even that should, frankly, just throw this whole thing out the window, because if the judges themselves are lying about it, then how do you even have a trials, let alone an investigation? People arrested without evidence, for example. I mean, crazy stuff. But
yeah, no, absolutely, and that's obviously we all have a lot of questions about this, yeah. And the more that these things go on, the more questions that are arisen, but not about the riot. It's about the hearing itself. We see footage of security guards actually welcoming people into the building and stuff like that. And then you also have the issue of hypocrisy in this case, because the Colbert Nine, the Stephen Colbert crew that came in and were escorted out not once, but twice, actually arrested the second time, and they were actually there without authorization to harass members of Congress. And yet they were let go. They're not going to, no one's pressing charges on them. So it's a little strange that you say, people are being arrested without evidence when there is evidence for the other one, but they're not being arrested.
Well, let's put it this way. Dr. Simone Gold, she's going to prison this week. 60 days in prison, not even jail, in prison for trespassing.
Wow. See, this is the issue. This is why stuff like this is so important, to find the real story, because clearly this is being used as a witch hunt, and you know, many of these congressional hearings aren't really hearings. They're not really trying to get down to the bottom of things. They're literally just there to rah-rah for a political side or get that Instagram, you know, doing it for the gram kind of moment. But this is one of those times where the federal government is being weaponized against the people for the benefit of a singular political party. And it is, I think, beholden to us to actually find that truth, to actually go and see, like, you know, hey, don't listen to what the mainstream media and these Democrats are trying to. They have an agenda with this, and the agenda is not the betterment of the United States, not trying to get down to the bottom of this, you know, horrible event. It is literally to try to, at least in my opinion, and I want to get your opinion on this, soften the blow for, I want to say, midterms, and then possibly help secure something for themselves in 2024. Why do you think that they're going through with this?
Well, here's the reality. Democrat policy, for the most part, is based on basically scandal. They need scandals because the policies basically are on criticizing what exists, not necessarily working towards solutions. If they do have solutions, it's more like, let's change the entire world and fundamentally alter society in this experimental thing that they want to try to push out. You know, basically communism, which has been done before. But the whole thing is based on as Marx would call it, the ruthless criticism of all things. And they need to have something to criticize. They need to convince people that basically there's some, you know, oppressor out there, or that there's an evil group they need to fight against. And they have to make these scandals constantly to try to drive people against them. Without that, they have no policies, really.
Right.
And we can look at Joe Biden's policies, for example. There's really not much there, frankly. And a lot of the stuff that he's had to walk back on is pretty much maintaining a lot of the Trump policies and trying to say he did it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But with this, the Democrats going into 2024 really don't have anything. Trump is mostly out of the picture, and they've been trying to keep him in the picture because he's the main enemy they need to convince people they have to go to the polls and vote against. And as they mentioned previously, it's two birds with one stone. It's one, going after the Trump movement and going after Trump and trying to get voters through that. The other side of it is trying to cleanse the country of what they called, that was the actual word they used, cleanse the nation of the Trump movement. Make it look like you're a criminal if you support Trump. Make it look like you're an insurrectionist if you support Trump. Make it so that people don't want to associate with Trump because they think it's a criminal act if you do so. That's what they're using J6 for.
Wow, that's scary, actually, when you really break it down. But, I mean, it is interesting that you kind of frame it that way. It is, you said that they have nothing. It really does, in my honest opinion, look like a lot of performance art. And a lot of this is all, like, not just the J6 stuff. I mean, no matter what it is, whether it's, you know, the Roe v. Wade collapse, you know, they're trying to make that into a big issue, and then it ended up kind of falling flat. Sadly, they tried to use the Uvalde issue, the shooting, as a stage to dance on. And it's this, in my opinion, J6 is just another one of these instances where they're trying to use performance art to give themselves a political leg up, which is disgusting, seeing as how, in order to accomplish this, they're literally arresting people who don't need to be arrested. Yeah. So thank God that you have this. Again, it's the real story of January 6th, EpochTV.com. Go check it out right now. I'm going to watch it pretty much as soon as I possibly can. I want to know the truth. Thank God you're putting it out there. Josh Philipp of Epoch Times. I almost did it again. Epoch. I almost did it right there.
Epoch, Epic, it's all good. Yeah.
But thank you, man, so much for all this and for stopping by.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We'll have more for you coming up. Stay tuned.